Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you're watching. It's your girl Choose here, and I just wanted to discuss and share with you all a video that I actually watched a while ago, but I wanted to explore how women can lead us towards just a more peaceful environment, community, society, world. Just, we know that women are pivotal figures in creating a harmonious world no matter where we reside. But no matter what our roles are in society, I really think that there is one role that we should remember. And that's what I wanted to discuss with you here today. And wanted to look at a video, and I just found this to be really, really great. This is a video on the Orangu people, and this is Africa, of course, and a little island. And on this island, women are in charge. And before you start to say or think, oh, this is one of those videos, women want to rule, no, this isn't that. This is actually, we want to look at this as the women, as how they work together and the things that they do. And we just want to really take some key takeaways from this that have nothing to do with being in power. It has more to do with our relationships with each other as women. So we're going to go ahead and
Opposite the coast of Guinea-Bissau,
start.
an archipelago opens out towards the interior of the Atlantic Ocean. This series of islands is the home of the people which give them their name, the Bissau. During centuries of isolation, the inhabitants of the Bissau's islands have preserved their ancestral culture and traditions. The result is an exceptional society, a matriarchy in which women run the economy, spirituality, the law, and the family. On one of its islands, Orango, the powerful Queen Bamba ruled a century ago. Thanks to her, women accumulated more power than ever, and the inhabitants of Orango became part of a community which was unique in the world. For generations, the Bisago women chose their husbands, built their houses, and organized the work. They are considered to be a bridge between the world of the living and the dead. On the island of Orango, the women are the queens.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, I remember when I first watched this years ago, I was like, wow. And of course, actually, it was, at that, when I first, watched it, it was, of course, like, wow, wait a minute, women are in charge, women make the decisions. But as I grew older, and I've watched it a couple more times throughout the years, I noticed something different, uh, just more things other than, the women are in charge. It's more, why are they in charge? How do they work together? And so this is what my focus is as we look at this video, and I will put the link in the description.
Orango, with just under 1,000 inhabitants. For two of them, the day is more special than for the others. Sarita is wearing a saya, or traditional skirt. In addition to a wig, she adorns her body with necklaces and bracelets. Dino is sporting clothes with striking colors. He also adorns himself with necklaces and oils. Today, he is wearing this clothing on the occasion of his wedding, but young men have dressed in this manner for centuries with a clear objective: attracting the attention of women. Their role was restricted to allowing themselves to be seduced, as traditionally it is the Bisago women who have chosen their husbands and asked for their hand in marriage. Women also ended the relationship when a separation occurred.
Sintar, ikonta dukuma, ikaba purkurang de kunstane kumandantar. O simpanya rai bombias. Ale bakar garindido, tafika outro, leva outro.
Although Sarita's mother and grandmother asked for their husbands' hands in marriage, she did not. With Western influence, this custom is changing.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second, because I don't want the ladies running and grabbing the rings and saying, oh, well, they do that here. You know, it's just like they just said, Western culture is starting to influence there, where the men are asking. But I thought I really wanted to uh, stop and say that that is absolutely interesting. It's so interesting that Western culture, that they've been doing this for years, and this young woman Sarita, although her mother and grandmother asked for their husband's hands in marriage, people are, looking at America, and they're starting to do things a little bit differently. But also here in the Western part of civilization, we don't want to just start running and asking for the men's hand in marriage, because this is that we're here.
Sarita and Tino have known each other since childhood, as they were both born in Etikoga on the island of Orango. This is one of the 20 inhabited isles of almost 100 which make up the archipelago of the Bisagos Islands.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Childhood friends.
That of the Bisago people. This ethnic group has retained a matriarchal society unique in the world, in which women are the force which drives life and spirituality.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on mute. I was trying to say that that's very interesting, because even here in Western civilization, the women largely support the church. So this is very interesting.
They practice the animist religion. They believe in the existence of a supreme being, Mindo, the god and creator. This is a distant god which cannot help humans. But there is an intermediate power between God and men, the Oribok. The Orebok is a universal force which unites all living creatures. It is a wider concept than the soul, as it also refers to the dead and the protective gods. For the Bisagol, nature is inhabited by these supernatural beings which rule man's destiny. For this reason, many beaches, trees, jungles, and some islands are considered to be sacred. In Etikova, life is simple and peaceful. The inhabitants are linked by many family ties. Sarita knows all corners of the Tabanca well. She knows that there is a place where she and the other inhabitants are forbidden to enter. Only a few women may go inside. The baloberas, or priestesses. They are responsible for the maintenance of the baloba, a sacred place where the iranes can be found. The iranes are objects or statues where the Orebok lives, the spirits of the gods and the ancestors of the Tabanca. The baloberas are powerful women who are respected for their capacity to communicate with the gods and with the dead. People come to them to ask for help and the protection of the iranes. In the sacred baloba, they hold major ceremonies for the benefit of the whole community. The important role of women in Bisagol society is reflected in the mythological origin of this ethnic group. According to legend, the first woman who inhabited these islands gave birth to 4 daughters who received different possessions. Orakuma was granted the right to the land and the holding of ceremonies. Ominka received the sea and with it the fishing. Oraga nature with its paddy fields and its palm tree. And Ogubane, the power of the rain and the wind, so as to control the dry season and the rainy season. These women gave rise to the 4 clans of the Bisagol people.
Wow, that's interesting. I just wanted to touch on how the elders play such a huge role in the society, and they can't afford to be superficial or, gossipy or any of that. And I think that, as I know for my age group, looking at 50 here, you you don't want to do the same things that you did in your youth. As you get older, you want to be able to have younger people feel open to come to you and to talk to you, to ask for your advice, whether they take it or not. For you to be able to be a peacemaker and not someone that helps stir up conflict. Um, I think of the matriarchs in my family, and I don't use that term loosely because I don't believe that that term actually applies to everyone. However, I do notice that the matriarchs that I consider in my family are the ones who were indeed peacemakers, but they were also the ones who would take on conflict as it arose in a way that repaired the family unit or the community. It just, that's something that I consistently noticed, and I do hope to follow in the footsteps of all of those that I know that have offered power and enlightenment and real knowledge on what it means not only to be a young woman, but to grow older, to I don't like to say stand on the shoulders of. I prefer to say pass the baton, because this is, whether it's a walk or a race, there, we're born and we have a destination. We have a final destination, and what else can we do while we're here? But try to make it better. Try to leave a mark, a good example, just on the people around us. And so I just really love that this community, not specifically because it's women led, but that I haven't seen any war. I was, well, actually, I was studying this. So, um, the crime rate is virtually non-existent, and that says a whole lot. But let's keep going. I'm not going to play this whole video. I am going to link the description and the title in the box. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm supposed to say that to this video, but to watch the full video, I will put that in the description box. But let's just explore a little bit more.
Surrounded by huge trees and now uninhabited, the old Tabanca of Edunque is considered to be the first settlement of this people on the island of Orango. All the houses which make up the Tabanca are balobas, as is indicated by the presence outside them of the cuserum, a tree which is considered to give protection. From the Tabanca of Edunque, the clan scattered to found new tabancas until Etikoga was reached. Society is structured in clans, and there is a class system by ages. Throughout their lives, both men and women perform initiation rites. In this way, they pass from one stage to another and gain rights. The choice of the kinglet, or chief of the Tabanca, and of the Baloberas does not depend on age, but on belonging to the clan which owns the earth. As this lineage is inherited by women, it is they who determine the positions of power in society. The kinglet is responsible for administering the natural resources and for establishing the time of sowing and of fallow land, and what to do in the case of drought. By a council of elders made up of both men and women.
Augusto Fernandes Pereira, Rágulo do Arango, sobrinho de Oquenca.
Wow, so he is the kinglet. That is wild. I love this.
As the day begins, the activities start at the home of Tanya and Daniel. This morning, Daniel will go to gather chabeu, the fruit of the palm tree. The work is divided between the sexes. The men do the work in the jungle and on the sea, while the women mainly do the household chores. The magnificent state of preservation of these islands is largely due to the faith and the animist traditions of this people.
Okay.
In harmony with nature, taking from it only what they need to survive. The main resources are the cultivation of rice, vegetable gardens, and fishing. Numerous products are also obtained from the palm tree, and peanuts and cashew nuts are also cultivated, mainly for export.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
The representative of the Association of Women Horticulturists of Etikova. Today they have a meeting to make decisions and organize the work of the forthcoming months. The women are the mainstay of the economy. They work harder and take on more responsibility than the men do. They form associations to administer the economy, social welfare, and the law. A council of women is also responsible for judging and punishing any crimes committed, which are, however, rare.
I figured, I told you all, the crime rate is virtually non-existent.
Para próprio quintal, para subir como aqui está, para reparar, para fazer tudo, para não poder arrancar trabalho de fazer horta.
In the Tavanca, there are small vegetable gardens which are privately owned and large ones which are collectively managed. Agriculture in the archipelago is determined by the rain cycles. The dry season is from November to May and is the best season to cultivate the vegetable gardens.
I do notice that they do rely on nature, and that's one of the takeaways that I got.
Exploitation of the palm tree is vital to life in the archipelago. Essentially, it gives wine and oil. The oil is extracted from the fruit of the palm tree, the chaveu. To gather chaveu, the men are obliged to climb to the top of the palm trees, a height of over 20 meters.
That's crazy, right? Look at this.
To climb up, they use just a rope made from palm leaves and the weight of their own bodies.
Man, it's safe to say they could possibly fall. Wow.
It is risky work, which has claimed a number of lives.
I just said that, literally.
It requires concentration at all times, as any error may be fatal. Individual gathering of the chaveo is for family consumption, while collective gathering is for obtaining oil to sell. Palm oil, together with wine, is indispensable in the carrying out of ceremonies and rituals. The Bisago believe that without the oil, the Iranes may refuse their requests. Nations are small in size and are fenced off to keep animals out, especially hippopotamuses, which are abundant on the island. During the dry season, the The men clear trees from the land chosen for cultivation. They sow the rice with the first June rains. The women help the men with the harvest. It is they who keep the keys to the barns in which the rice is stored.
Wow, so that's wow. The women keep the keys for everything, and I know what was that rice that they're cooking there?
Tanya is preparing a traditional dish. It is a recipe of boiled rice accompanied with mangara soup. Mangara, or peanuts, are produced mainly for sale, together with cashew nuts. Once it has been cleaned, the mangara is ground to a paste.
Wow.
Tanya adds onion, lemon juice, and fish, and heats the dish.
Cozinha de terra, ikaw só cozinha de pis, leva ostra, leva lingrão, leva combe.
And we thought cooking from scratch was something. Mm-mm-mm. That's crazy.
Tá pega teso.
Finally, she serves the cooked rice, to which she adds the mangara soup with the fish. The tabanca is a mainly feminine place where domestic chores are carried out. The activities of the women revolve mainly around the house, where they prepare food, transform products, or make clothes or mats. On occasion, they carry out their tasks in environments considered to be masculine, such as the sea, where they gather mollusks at low tide, or the jungle. Albertina is cleaning fish, which she will cook later on. She needs firewood, so she must leave the tabanca and go into the jungle to find it.
Man, that look, I'm about to make a whole meal from scratch because this really makes us look like, oh my goodness.
Now she has all she needs to prepare a tasty dish of grilled fish. The inhabitants of these islands obtain a large part of their resources from the sea. They practice subsistence fishing, which aims to cover family needs. Fish which is not eaten is either exchanged for other products with other locals or kept to be dried or salted.
In other words, don't be greedy, huh?
Various traditional forms of capture are used. Fishing may be carried out on foot by taking advantage of low tide. An experienced fisherman can catch a good supper easily, although the fish found near the shore are smaller in size. capture the most sought-after fish, it is better to use other techniques. Daniel will try his luck with a hook.
Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Wow.
For centuries, these people have practiced sustainable fishing based on self-consumption. In recent years, however, they have also begun to trade with fish. The only way they are able to do so is by means of the ship which visits the island every week from Bissau.
Okay, now this is weird because they have to take this one boat weekly, and that's where they go to trade and all of that. So it's like really, I don't know, it's really interesting. And then the idea of doing all of this for sustenance and not being greedy.
Will stay here all day. Its crew members pass the time by preparing lunch on an improvised grill. The fish is much tastier seasoned in oil with mustard. Albertina is looking for combe. The combe, or cockle, is one of the products most frequently consumed by the Bissago.
I mean, you know what I can say? If the men, women, and children are doing this all day, I guess they wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't have time to fight and argue and do all this crazy stuff. This is interesting.
Opportunity to buy some fish. The port is barely 20 minutes away from Etikoga, associated with women. Not only does the woman own her house, it is where she carries out most of her activities, where she gives birth, and where she is buried. Houses have walls of adobe, conical straw roofs, and a frame of bamboo. The kitchen is on the outer porch. It is here that most of the daily activities are carried out.
That's pretty cool.
The inner rooms are used as a bedroom and storehouse.
That's the storehouse right there.
In the construction of the houses, men and women carry out different tasks. The women are traditionally the main builders. They transport the water, make the adobe bricks from mud, and erect the walls.
Well, I guess they should own their house then. Yeah. Wow.
Awa minjer tambi, utabay pamato, ubay corta palha. Una corta palha, ubin com palha, ubin tisil tudo, o cuca batisi palha. Homem tá tomar conta de casa, e subir o de casa, e mara aqui por tudo, se acaba, toma palha e pui, e cobre casa.
Many houses also have a vegetable garden, which must be protected from the appetite of the domestic animals. The Bissago rear cows, goats, pigs, and chickens. Although some stables for the livestock do exist, most of the animals grow freely with no special attention. Everything is intended for sale. Some people also send products to relatives or simply need to travel to the mainland. Everyone helps to load the merchandise. For some, it is more a festival than work. The wait on the seashore is also a good opportunity for bathing pets. The ship stops at other islands before reaching Bissau. The passengers drink here during the day and a half that the crossing takes.
At our rescue, we are on a mission to
He mainly uses leaves of trees and shrubs, together with some herbs and roots. It is important to collect them without damaging them, so they can continue to provide resources. Domingos learnt how to prepare the medicines and the amount which must be given according to each person and each complaint from his father, who was a healer before him and now advises his son.
Por exemplo, doença de febre amarela. No hospital por aquele, mas cá por aquele. Mas mesinho de terra por aquele. Tem juntado que é. Está acabando bias.
Domingos not only cures diseases, but also prepares remedies for snakebite. Segunda will give birth soon and has come to see the midwife today. Sábado has been attending pregnant women for many years. The midwives use traditional medicine to help women in labor.
Criança trabalha sim, bem sim. Está sentada nesse lugar. Se quer que ela sente dor na corpo. Se capaz que ela
This is the case. I give a specialized massage. This is my job.
Maternity is the central element in the Bisao systems of beliefs, which is based on reincarnation. The woman thus comes into contact with the spiritual world on conceiving in her womb a new being, which is the product of the reincarnation of a deceased person. This means that maternity is highly respected and prestigious in society. But it is not the only way that women come into contact with the dead. Society is structured in very rigid age groups, 8 for men and 6 for women, which are reached by fulfilling the initiation rites of each group. The practicing of these rites begins in childhood and accompanies people throughout their lives. The elders pass on secrets and knowledge to the young. The latter, in their turn, offer possessions and food to the elders. This is what is known as the pagamento do grandeza.
Aww. That's so beautiful. That is really beautiful. Oh my goodness. So, what I've got for now, or I should say so far, is like, this is really, really eye opening. I mean, although this is considered a matriarchal society where women are the leaders, everyone seems to have an equal part, a relevant part. And, as I stated, even with cooking for me, it's like cooking, the gathering, so these women have demonstrated remarkable resilience. I mean, they work tirelessly. The men climbing the trees and like literally risking their lives. I really think that this is a part of why there may be low crime. Who really has time to argue, backbite, and do all of that when you're busy, when you got stuff to do. And I love, I'm sure people have arguments, but I mean, as far as making this village sustainable, everybody has to play a role. The women, we've got to build. Or, look, I'm already moved over there. We got to build our houses. But yeah, I mean, they're building their houses. They're putting in work to do the things that they need to do. And here it's like negative behaviors are the norm. Um, Wanting uh, other people to pay for us and provide for us, that's the norm. And it's just really interesting that even here in Western civilization, with that type of thinking where, things should be given to me, or, I'm going to depend on this or that, and not whatever it is, not put in the work to get what it is that, you aspire to. That is what leads to many problems, relationship wise, self wise. I mean, this is really eye opening. I don't know. Maybe it might be boring to everyone else, but this was just really eye opening to me.
For the Baloberas, these are also uncertain times. Women cannot be appointed without having passed through the fanado. But being a Balobera means giving up men and a family and living off charity. And of today are no longer willing to make these sacrifices.
They want them in.
This morning, the children of the Tabanca have come to the beach to look for gombe. Dressed in their oldest clothes and armed with spoons, they dig in the sand in search of these small mollusks. It is still early, but they must hurry, as this is an essential ingredient for preparing the meal for the wedding of Sarita and Tino. In the Tabanca, the women are lighting the fire. As it is a special day, they wear their traditional saya. The women wear these skirts mainly at ceremonies, rites, and dances. Two different sayas are worn according to age. Short and of several colors for young women, and long and of a single color for older women.
Wow, this is so cool.
The food is a fundamental aspect of the rites and ceremonies of this culture. On these occasions, the most frequent dishes are prepared with rice and palm oil. Today, the women are cooking rice with gombe, which will play an important part at the wedding. The bridegroom's family prepares the cabasa, a container made from half a pumpkin, which is filled with gifts. Afterwards, they go to Sarita's house amid shouts and applause from relatives and friends. Finally, the couple meet. Tino's parents present the cabasa to the bride.
Sarita, alitino tisi kabale kumabo kimisti. Tudo kusa stadia no mo. Abakuna di manjagindi sudu kusinta pale. Abakuna konta sumisi tino so kamisti. O misti.
Misti.
Di barad. Ala kabasa padiga.
Listen, fact, a pumpkin.
Tribute some of the presents among the members of her family.
They got that liquor.
The time to celebrate the wedding has come. The procession goes through the tabanca to return to Tino's house once more. The dish of rice with gombe seals the union of the couple. A new life begins for Sarita. Perhaps in the forthcoming years, she will have daughters. The girls will inherit her lineage and will transmit it in turn to their own daughters from generation to generation.
Wow. Oops, my bad. That was awesome. And that's why I wanted to focus on the community rather than the fact that, women are supposed to be in charge. It's a matriarchal society. However, you can see that there doesn't seem to be any dominance asserted. I mean, everybody's invited to the wedding. I didn't see anybody that couldn't go. I'm joking, but not. It's just such a beautiful thing. And so that brings me back to Western civilization and women. Let me turn my fan off here. Women, can we be more compassionate toward each other? Can we be kinder toward each other? Can we seek to understand each other and then be understood? We are the ones, no matter our societal roles, husband and wife, however you identify. But seriously, no matter what we do in our daily lives, it is really important to show kindness to each other, the younger generation, show kindness to the older generation. Show kindness and compassion to the younger generation. How do we say that, the younger generation is this and the younger generation is that, when sometimes if we look around, in some cases, the younger generation is doing the same thing that they saw. In other cases, the younger generation may be doing a little bit better. The point is, we all can be lifelong student learners of the world, each other. But as women, we need to take an initiative to not only support each other, but hold each other accountable, hold ourselves accountable first before we try to hold the next woman accountable, if that makes sense, because everything starts with self. You, me, we are in control of ourselves. So just wanted to do something a little bit different. I know that some people probably thought, where is she going with this? Oh, women leaders, blah, blah, blah. No, everyone has a role in the community, but women as peacemakers, women as community leaders in a sense of gathering, in a sense of showing that kindness and working together. Even, we might not like each other. That's normal. But the level of hatred, the level of anger that and negative behaviors that we have toward each other, that's not, that shouldn't be the norm. I mean, we need to stop creating division that causes unrest. It's not becoming. It's not us. It is That's not us. We have to recognize the impact of our own actions, what they have on the world, and we have to take our own responsibility, women and men, but I'm specifically talking to my fellow women. We have to take responsibility for creating a more harmonious environment, whether that is in our homes, in the community, at work, in all walks of life. So, you know, I'm trying to think, my last and final thoughts here is, you know, the impact of this cannot be overstated. The impact of efforts to not be a victim of conflict, but rather be an agent of change and an agent of togetherness, of what I always like to say, compassion. And a lot of that is sometimes we have to look at ourselves first. But I hope this was a nice story for you. And I see the Orangu as my own little beacon of hope, a symbol of what can be achieved when women work together towards a common goal. It's not excluding men. I mean, other than the older women who, you know, I, in my experience as just as being a widow, I am not looking for a relationship. I'm looking for knowledge. I've been married, I've raised children. So my journey right now is different. So even in that respect, I can understand that, the younger women wouldn't want to, quote unquote, give up men. But, there are just different ways of utilizing what we saw here to kind of just merge with our own world, even down to how they look to nature, to things, and they only take what they need, and not, we're not greedy, not trying to take it all. This is what we need for our family. The rest is community. We have to do that. If we did that, we wouldn't need as many food shelves. There we go. So, it's talking to each other is important, seeking to understand and support each other in our endeavors. All of that is very, very important. And once again, as you can see, it didn't exclude men. They have their own way of life, their own culture. But what I noticed as a whole was people working together. And if you're doing that day in and day out as a community, where do you have time to do the rest? So, with that, I would love to hear from you. Feel free to share your thoughts on the women's roles, the men's roles, the community as a whole, how we can work together, uh, whether you're a man or a woman, to just create a more peaceful environment, even if that's in our own lives. And I'm looking forward to talk to you more about this and anything else that just comes to my brain, because that's what we're doing right now. We're just, doing all this stuff on Thoughtful Tuesday. So this was the thought that I had, and so this is the video I'm putting out. And until next time, of course, you know what it is. I am sending you love and light.